We have a thread of history that runs through our county, southeastern Pennsylvania, which points towards an immense tradition of abolition history. The Quakers, African American communities, which existed and thrived all throughout this region. And we've lost sight of that history. And there's been a very complicated and difficult history, and sometimes we avoid it. There were numerous black farms in this vicinity. West Goshen Township, literally 2 miles from where I was born and raised, was the Curry farm, Nathaniel and William Curry. He was mulatto farmer, and he, in 1822, acquired 37 acres of farmland. We also know that Elizabeth and Richard Few, down 926, had farmland, but Shiloh African Methodist Episcopal Church is a long forgotten church and cemetery. Sadly, the church was demolished in the 60s and the headstones were removed, but there are approximately 140 graves there, including 15 United States colored troops. So last week, rather 2 weeks ago, we had the first Memorial Day, Decoration Day, for the confirmed United States colored troops that are buried at Shiloh in front of the Chester County Courthouse. And this is an important moment for our community to not only acknowledge our heroes that are buried at Shiloh, but also the enormous legacy, because there's a fascinating question that exists as to why Richard Allen establishes Shiloh as one of the first AME churches after Mother Bethel. So there's lots of history. It's connected to genealogy, but there's also a difficult question in our county that happened after the Civil War concerning Jim Crow laws, concerning disenfranchisement, and it basically drove out African American farms and communities. So the work really is to go back to the best part of Quaker history and Black abolition history, which is how we work together, how we correct the past. And the only way we can do that is sitting down at the table and really engaging with one another, because that is really the legacy. In my view, Chester County is the keystone of the abolition movement.
What do you think about, how do you think being a citizen in the United States might differ from being a citizen in a different country?
The onus of liberty is enormous. We are a bunch of screaming children sometimes. We don't always get what we want, but we also have a deep faith tradition, which also is supposed to inform and guide our decision making in our communities. And so when we deliberate and when we contemplate what we should do and how we should move together, it's informed by an enormous stewardship of the ideals of our founding forefathers, but also taking a hard look at the less than perfect aspect of our forefathers and how we need to improve that and recall the giants of our community: Rustin, Still, Douglas, Tubman, Mendenhalls, Coxes, Forsyths, Garretts, and really respond to that legacy. And we have to really move away from this generic attitude of history. We have to really dig deep and encounter the history as opposed to superficially just understanding bits and pieces. And the only way we do that is sitting down together. And so sometimes those are difficult conversations.
Cool. What's a short little clip? What do we have to celebrate?
That's a tough question. The intersection, in my view, which represents America's best legacy, which is the intersection of Black communities and Quaker abolition. It's not always perfect history, but when you read the literature, it is a profoundly beautiful, and it is compassionate, it is merciful, it is reaching out to right the evils of the past. And so I think the Quakers have a lot to teach us and guide us about how we continually look at our history and make course corrections for the better. And of course, the legacy of Ruston and Still and Tubman. All of those icons of our county are what give us the opportunity to create that more perfect union.
Great. Very good.
Great, thank you, gentlemen.